think it's credit to the boys themselves, obviously, to have that many people involved at international level, senior international level and under 21 level is very good. We get feedback, and the feedback is a credit to the football club, they're a credit to the staff, but most importantly a credit to themselves. So they've got what they've deserved, and if you've played well and you've earned that right to be in the international setup, then they've certainly gone and taken it. The three boys in the senior setup, Trevor and Decky and Stephen, and then the under 21 boys. So delighted for both countries, Scotland and Northern Ireland. One game from the Euros, so hopefully be lots of positivity in the press.
You mentioned you see the boys on a regular basis every day. Do you see a real change and a better player as they come back from international duty on a regular basis?
Yeah, they certainly come back. You're training with top quality players. They come back full of confidence. I think that's the biggest thing. They don't really change as players, but they come back full of confidence. Declan and Stephen have come back, and obviously buzzing. Trevor is his first international game since he was ill. We're very, very proud of him and how he's conducted himself. And even football's a strange game. He wasn't starting, and then he starts, and how quickly things turn around. So for all of them, Barry Maguire goes with the 21s and does very well. PJ gets his first call up as well. So we've got players going in the right direction, and as a club you hope to take advantage of that as well in terms of their confidence.
And just picking up on the point that you mentioned earlier there, Declan highlighted the fact that maybe we all need to, not only the media but maybe the Tartan Army, need to change our attitude, need to be more positive about what is happening in our game.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives, and society only focuses on negative things, unfortunately. And with Northern Ireland, I remember, through the 80s, and we were very, very successful. We got the 2 World Cups, and then there was a real barren patch in Northern Irish football, but the fans were fantastic. They were right behind the boys, and it made success even more sweeter when it finally came. And Scotland are one game away from a life-changing experience for everybody. Hopefully fans, everybody will be able to savour that, and the same with the Northern Ireland fans. So you're delighted with that, and I don't think we accentuate the positives enough, and the young players coming through. If you look at the Scotland under 21s, Northern Ireland under 21s had another good result as well. So there's a lot of good stuff happening, and maybe we focus on that a little bit more. It'd be a lot easier to enjoy.
How has the sort of last couple of weeks been for you? Just obviously you went from 4 games in 10 days to having an extended period without games given come on at all.
We're looking forward to getting back to business again. It's been a long 3 weeks. Obviously with the game being cancelled, what we have to weigh up now is the boys that came back. Great for them, unprecedented. 3 games in 6 days, was it? So. For my concern now is, Declan will be fine because of the position he plays in. There's not loads of running, especially in the middle of the 3. Stephen's a concern for me because the amount of minutes he's had, and that's certainly not a criticism of anybody. That's just the way the football world is at the minute. We have to fit those games in, but maybe the authorities could look and give us an extra day to allow those international boys to recover. Why are we not playing on a Sunday? To give them an extra day. We've done it with Scotland to try and get games on the Friday night to give Scotland an extra chance. So you would be hoping that would be replicated, especially on the next occasion in November, because we're all learning as we go in this. So I'm delighted for the boys, but it's a decision. Can they go again for us on Saturday with the same intensity and same desire? And the one concern with me would be Stephen. So we'll look at him in terms of training today and tomorrow morning and see where we are.
Other managers sort of express concern about it and perhaps question the players on the international scene, but that's not something you're going to want to take away from your players, especially with such a big month coming up.
No way. Look, I've been involved on both sides of it, so I understand from all the international managers' point of view, you have to put your best players out. I think Stephen and Decky were only 4. 2 out of the 4 players that started every game played almost every minute, bar I think Steve came off for a minute in the Israel game. So look, you got no complaints from me. I'm delighted for the boys. It's a pinnacle of their career playing for their countries. So there's no complaints from me. I think we need perhaps a little bit more help from the authorities and maybe use their brain, which would be great if we can move the game for another 24 hours. We give everybody a little bit more breathing space and time to recover. So maybe listen, this is new. This is the first time it's happened, so it's not a criticism. I think everybody is very, very quick to criticise everything in life. We're learning as we go with this. We're living with a pandemic that's nobody's dealt with before. So maybe in November we can look at that and take the games back a day and give everybody a little bit more time, and the boys come back from Scotland, Northern Ireland, etc. on a high is what we want. We're not trying to take that away.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because not only when you get a fatigued player when you come back, but come these huge games in November, you're obviously going to play Declan and you're going to play Stephen as much as you want. Your players, we could be getting them fatigued come their huge game against Serbia.
Yeah, and I think everybody has to help each other, and certainly that suggestion of an extra day would give me an extra 24 hours to allow Stephen to recover and Decky to recover, Trevor to recover a little bit more as well. Barry Maguire, who played on the Tuesday, so that's not as bad. But I think common sense approach to everything, and you help each other. Listen, there's nobody more delighted for the boys when they play and more proud on them than I am. So we encourage that. We actively encourage it. We work alongside all the national squads. It's if you work together, life's a lot easier.
We've seen during this international break, the COVID really sort of gripped Scottish football in terms of players getting self-isolation, COVID positive tests as well. How worrying was it for you during that period where you were seeing players being tested and being positive in a lot of different camps across Europe when they were playing?
Yeah, I'm a nervous wreck when they go away, whether they get injuries or COVID testing, and I think it's something that we're living with and we're going to be living with for a while yet, but it also proves that all the protocols are being put in place. We're catching the virus early, we're isolating people, and as I've said numerous times, we're doing more than people in the front line. Health authorities are really risking their lives for people. We're testing constantly, we're finding people that have got it and we're isolating them. There's not a whole lot more that we can do. It's something we're going to have to live with. I've no doubt at some stage it will happen to Motherwell. We'll get positives no matter how many precautions you take. It's just the nature of the pandemic. So, we have to live with it. We have to get on with it. And as I say, you just have to make the best of it. And everyone's in the same boat. There's nobody doing it any differently, and there's nobody is not going to suffer from it. So we just have to cope with it and get on with it.
In terms of Saturday, then it was again just like that. St Mirren are one who have to self-isolate 2 players because of this. What's your thoughts on the game and what disruption that may have to the opposition camp? Yeah,
well, listen, we don't know who it is, so we've no idea who it is, and my main focus is on Motherwell and what we can do. We've got Bevis McGabby who's got injured in training. He's going to be out to 4 to 6 weeks with a dislocated shoulder. So I've got my own worries and problems, so I'm concentrating solely on us and how we go about the game. And as I say, we're on a good run before the last 2 games where we played against 2 very good sides, and my main aim is to get back onto that run again and winning games as quickly as possible.
Just below that because the player was away in international, did you say, if I'm right as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, Bevis was away. He got injured when he came back with us. Bevis has been back since Monday, and it was just an innocuous thing in training where he's held his arm out. He's done it before at Yeovil on the other shoulder. And he's just unfortunate. Every time he gets a run on the team, it seems to be after 4 or 5 games playing really well, and he's been brilliant for us this season. He suffers an injury, so it's an unfortunate one, and one that then other people are going to have to step up and replace.
You've obviously had a few injuries in the defensive department as well. Will that maybe even have force you to change formation as well? Is that struggle with that as well?
Well, it's something we can look at, something we'll be well prepared for. All our injuries, none of them have been muscle injuries. They've all been crazy injuries, dislocated shoulder, a knee injury, from two knee injuries from non-contact. So it's been a difficult one, things you can't control, but it's part of football, isn't it? And you have to get on with it. I think we've got players that can step in that have maybe been cajoled through the early parts of the season to get their fitness levels. They have to step up and come to the fore now. We've got Jake Carroll who started to go back on the pitch. It'll still be another 4 to 6 weeks with him, so that'll be a boost for us. And young David Devine, who we've high hopes for, has been injured for quite a while, is back on the pitch again as well. So we've got options coming back, not quite here and now, but in the coming weeks, hopefully we'll have other options.
Aaron Chapman and Devante Cole been added to the squad since last time spoke. What will they bring to the squad, especially Aaron Chapman, if you're saying Trevor Carson might give it?
Yeah, Aaron is, he was one that we thought long and hard about. It's a real difficult situation at the minute in terms of developing young players. We've developed our players, but we've got no reserve football. So sitting on our bench or getting 5 minutes at the end of a game for me isn't developing footballers. They have to play football. We've got 3 boys out in the championship playing. We've got Jamie at Cove. We've got young PJ who will go out on loan later this afternoon, and that was the whole idea of it. Boys we rate very highly, boys that are not quite ready for the first team, and the only way to develop them is putting them in first team scenarios with first team footballers, with people shouting at them, with managers dropping them, and dealing with real life football. That's my way how we develop players, and if it's not in our first team it has to be somewhere. So we've thought long and hard about it. Aaron gives us that experience. Should we get an injury to Trevor, and he comes in, he's here and now where he can go in and play and fight for a place. With Devontae, we've had Devontae before. Devontae can play anywhere across the front three. Probably prefers playing in one of the left or right positions of a narrow front three. Gives us pace, gives us a wee bit more physical presence up there as well, and hopefully goals from them wider areas. So we'll look and see how fit he is. He's come back. He surprised me with how long he's been out, how fit he's came back. So he certainly gives me an option for tomorrow.
Any other bumps or bruises that's not going to rule out?
Sherman Seedorf just is a slight hamstring strain, so he'll be touch and go for tomorrow. I don't think it's a serious one. If he's not right for tomorrow, he'll be right to train Monday or Tuesday. So that's something we'll look at again later on today in training.